The Joy of Functional Game Dev, Project 1, Episode 9. Hey everybody, nice to see you again. Just a reminder, in the description below, we've got some links to GitHub releases. We're at the one that's V0.8, and that's the end of Episode 8, start of Episode 9, if you want to code along. And there will be another one at the end of Episode 9. So, and it's likely to be there before this video is uploaded. So you can take a look at you can actually look at what we're going to do before I do it. Hello, future people. And let's take a look over at the Trello board. And we've got several things done, and the things that we'd like to have in progress. Smooth movement, units of measure, support game controller. We've got these other things. And you know what? We can move these screens over. And because why not? At least get a, we kind of know what we want to do for these. So we can at least get some stub in there. We'll get a better idea as we go along. But we want those things, and since we added the title screen, it's going to be pretty simple. So we might stub those in, and I think that's a good thing. And then it may be the biggest mistake ever, but let's take a look at units of measure. And I'm a little reluctant because it could wind up in a big refactor that we just may wind up completely ripping out. But let's go anyway. Let's try it. Let's not be afraid of language features, shall we? Alright, so in order to... Actually, let's start with that. That's a wonderful way to start. Let's start out with a unit of measure. So we're going to type. So it's got to do measure type seconds. Okay. So now we've got a type, and what we're going to do, we're going to time remaining is going to be float seconds, because that's how you do units of measure in F#. And there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that we wind up not liking. So we're going to go, okay, so time remaining 0 is no longer a time span, so we're going to go 60.0 seconds. And undoubtedly, we're going to build, and it's not going to like us one bit. One failed. What don't you like? Ooh, yeah, we don't like that, because that is a time span, and that is float seconds. So what we're going to need is well, how about we just have our delta be float seconds? What's wrong with that? Can we do that? And that's no longer, well, elapsed game time is no longer a thing, but that would give us that. What else don't we like? All right, draw seconds, and we have time remaining. So what does draw seconds take? Draw seconds, go to the definition. We don't want a time span anymore. We want float seconds. And we'll call it, I guess it's number of seconds, so just float seconds. Will that work? Okay, so we're going to go seconds. To an int. And that's not really going to... Is that going to work? Let's find out, shall we? So if the new board state is less than or equal to 0.0 seconds, then That's a game over. There's no way this can work. This is too easy. Of course not. What do we got? Up, up, up. So, update game. I have to find out what in the world that is. So, update game. Let's go there. Go to the definition. Update game is a delta. Delta is a float seconds. So, what's the problem? Well, let's go over. So, okay, it's in the constructor. So, what's the deal? And it takes all these game render, which is game time net. Okay. So, game renderer delta dot elapsed game time dot totals dot seconds. Time interval. So total seconds, which is a float. It is a float times 1.0 seconds. And for that, we need to bring in. Where is that? Is that in board state? So let's open board state. We're going to do this. Open board state. Is that right? Board state. Open board state. Open board state. Why don't you like it? There's a module called board state. I did it right. Build failed. Alright, so we can't have it in board state. So what we need, we need to know about this here. Yes, sir. Okay, means our other stuff's going to break, but that's alright, because this is. Actually, we're going to call this, it's fine. Alright. So wherever this is, open. And that way seconds is going to be there. Build it again, because it's there now. Where the old build, okay. Seconds is not defined. Where are we? So float seconds. We're going to open that again. So close. Okay, still failing. Type seconds is not defined. So we're going to need to open it there. And we likely need to move this elsewhere. But so build succeeded. What? Is this actually going to work? That would be insane. Let's find out. Let's see if anything blows up as we go. The most awesome title screen in the world. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yes, sir. And it's counting down. And units are working. Yeah. Now that's pretty cool. And the best part is, okay, so why are we doing that? Right? One of the other things that I want to do is to be able to set, because these are not going to be ints anymore. These are the locations. So we're going to need another measure, and this it's all going to pay off. Believe me. Okay, type pixels. All right, and then so we have seconds, and we have pixels. And what we're going to do, and this is going to really, really mess it up, because now the player is going to be a position. So he's going to be float px times float px. Going to build it, and we'll be back to where we need to be. Okay, float px, same thing for dollar. And that's all we need. Alright, so the player and the dollar are now at a float px. And we're going to have a whole lot. So random board position. So at the moment, random next. And we're going to do float. And just for the time being, times 1.0 px. Just so we can get it done. Okay, so now, build again. How many errors we got? Still 12. Alright. With delta add location, board state, player state. So add location. Let's go there. Delta. So what's the delta? The delta is determine. So let's determine the delta. And this, our movement table, 0.0 px. And now all this stuff moves to in units of pixels. Okay, now we have 13 errors. All right. It's going to get worse before it gets better. 0.0 px, 0.0 px, 0.0 px. Now we're down to 11. Int does not, so board state player state. Okay, so first, and divide by 1.0 px, int. Will this work, or do I have to parenthesize it? I may have to parenthesize it, I probably do. Okay, so every time I do that, okay, do the same thing down here. And that's an ugly, ugly, ugly thing to put in there, but make it work, then make it work right. Get it done. Sound divided by 1.0 px. And send that to an int. And is that working correctly? Alright. It is an ugly, ugly construct. One that we can obviously improve. Okay. Let or use. So what is our problem here? Okay, so there's time to look. There's that. Up, and I have to have another one after the int. Right? Is this right? Everything's fine now? Still fail. Alright, where's our problem? Okay, board state column. V is greater than board columns. Board state player, board columns. XY equals board state player. So these will be PXs. Well, 0.0 px. Then we're going to have 0. Okay, let's go to that. The definition of that, 0.0 px. See, of course, because now board column. You know what though? Times, because random dot next. Oh, it's still an int. Dot next double times board columns. And I think things are going to start to simplify now. Times board columns, because now that's in px. So random board position. Aha, aha. All right, it's going to make more sense now. Times board. Don't need this. And really, this is the money right here. Because I can do a scalar times something there, and it's groovy. Okay, so board columns, which is, since we need to rebuild, int does not match that. 36.0. But we can certainly do that. We're getting there. We are so getting there. Draw text. So wait, do we have draw? Is draw text 0 px? See, I don't mind every last thing is in. To have type int. Why is it expected to have type int? Now, why didn't it like it before? So 0, 0. What doesn't it like? Draw text. So, because that one. So we're going to do divided by 1.0 px. Int. All right. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Making it ugly. So now it's not complaining there. Minus 1.0 x. .0 px. This looks like, so this episode is brought to you by .0 px. Wow. Okay. Now if it works, I will be amazed. F2. Well, my goodness, how about that? Oh, so it's doing an equal. And here is where, because we're going to have floating, point errors. That's okay. And in a way, we want that. Well, not exactly, because we're going to get over this now. Now everything is in floats, and now we've set the stage. So we're gonna we're gonna put call it pigeonholed. No, we won't even do that. We're gonna call it squee for now. We're gonna call it squee and say we got it. We're gonna put it over here, and we're probably we got it in there, but I don't think we're gonna be done with that. At least not yet. Because in there, You're all very likely looking at me because, like, you're insane. What are you doing? And it's all going to make sense in just a little bit, because now we've got our distances are in pixels. Oh, one thing I quickly wanted to do was in render here on this. I wanted to put the control. Call it 30, F2, start game. I want to do that. F2, start game. That's what I want. Okay, now I can't get any points because I can't be equal. All right. So what we're going to do is we now need a distance formula thing, because now when I update the player state, I'm going to move the avatar. That's got to be import state. Move the avatar. Ooh, nope, don't want that. Move the avatar. So if the state is that equal, the state is equal, but I don't want that. Now, here's a funny and weird thing that I don't know how to do in F#. We're going to find out. Square root in F#. Square root function in F#. Well, looks like an operator squirt, just like any other thing. So, squirt TU, squirt die. Alright. So, squirt. Just like any other place. I half suspected, so squirt. Alright. Back to, let's say let distance first, second equals, and we will strongly type everything. It's just so we can work with our IntelliSense here. Float px. We don't really care what the type is, and we would likely to make it more generic later, but right now I need it to work with float px's. And so I'm going to return squirt of first. That's float px times float, but first x first y. Let's do this. Let's come on. Second x second y, and these are all float px's. And we're going to do the age-old distance formula. Thank you, Pythagoras. We're going to say first x minus second x times second x plus those things with y's on them. And somebody out there is shouting that I'm not supposed to do it this way, that there's a distance formula. There probably is. You know what? Math. Is there a math? There is. Oh yeah, there's regular old math in there. So there's math.squirt. Is there a distance? There isn't a distance thing in here anyway. Alright. So there's that. And that's going to be a float px to the second. Can I do this? Nope. Alright. And we're going to send you a squirt. Send you a squirt. So now we got comes from there and gives me a distance. If player distance distant less than well, okay, it's 36 pixels. We're going to go with 9.0 px. Then, so if you're within 9 pixels, it's a hit and do the stuff. So that should be enough, right? Have to start the game. Ooh. What have I done? Did I do it wrong? I must have done it wrong. First x minus second x times first y times first x minus second x times second y times second y. Sure. So what's going on? Can't. I'm staring at it. What am I doing? Times second y. Do you know what I'm doing wrong? You probably do. This is going to be a very bizarre thing. Alright. Well, my goodness. Let's break it down to steps. Let delta x equal first x minus second x. Let delta y equals first y minus second y. And then really these things are delta x times delta x plus delta y times delta y. And then we squirt it. We check to make sure it's less than 9 pixels. Have to. Why did you run 9? Oh, because that's in pixels, but I'm not in pixels, so I really screwed up. Is what happened. So it was less than 1. So currently it is working correctly, but I've got the wrong units on the position. That's where the screw up is. It's got to be less than 1. There. Oh. Does this probably... Okay, it's a little bit weird, so we're going to go 0.5. 0.5. So now we should actually have to... See, why didn't you tell me? So now I should actually have to be on the guy. I shouldn't be able to... Ooh. Huh. Math is hard. So that's a float px, float px. If the distance between the two is less than 0.5, then, so if it's less than half of a... I'm now getting confused. So what's going on? 2. Okay, that worked. Bling. Okay. Ah. You know what? Here's... Okay, so, if that doesn't work, go right next to it. This is silly. But we must... So where are we at? There's that one. Where do I have to be in order to make this happen? My goodness. In any case, all right. So that is an interesting problem, and we're going to figure it out. So obviously, let's make it. Yeah, that's not going to be the fudge factor. Really, what we need is to have things be actual pixels, not so what we need is we need a new, because that's not what we're really measuring in. We're measuring in word columns. So I'm going to, it should not be pixels. So measure type cells. So the board columns, that's the number of cells. And then let pixels per cell equal 36.0 px, call them a cell, one cell, pixel per cell. Okay, so really my random board position should be random times that times pixels per cell. Now we're in actual pixels. But now it means when I'm rendering that I'm not multiplying anything by 36. And this leads right towards what I want to do next anyway. Still going to fail. We spend a lot of time. Still that. Times pixels per cell. I think I need to put a board state on there, or do I not? So I notice I have a board columns here, and there should really be board rows. So that's in cells, pixels per cell. So board rows times pixel per cell. So I don't really even need this board state here. So board rows times pixel per cell will give you board rows times pixels per cell minus 1.0. So alright, this is gonna be wrong. So basically I want to put so it's really minus pixels per cell. Actually minus 1.0 cell times pixels per cell. That's cool. Now we have 3 types of units. We've got cells, we've got pixels, and we've got seconds. And now the compiler can start helping us with our unit math. So it actually, once we get this right, it's going to be so much better for what we're doing. It succeeded? My goodness, no way. Alright. But now we're going to find he moves a lot slower. Okay, that's no good. That's awful. What I want to do is, for my lookup table, where's my update? Where's my lookup table? I guess there is no lookup. Is it here? Okay, minus 0, and then it's going to be minus pixels per cell. times 1.0 cell. Okay, so any place where there is 1.0 px, I do that. Alright. We're still going to be a bit off. Look at that. Okay. So now we're going to go with when it's less than that updates here in board state. When it is less than so this is the distance. It's going to give it to me in pixels divided by pixels per cell. And that's going to give you the number of cells. That's going to be less than 1.0 cell. Is that right? Are my units correct? Must be, because otherwise it'd be pitch and fit. So I got distance, which is going to give me pixels. I'm going to divide by pixels per cell. That's going to give me the number of cells. So if I'm less than a cell away, that's okay. We now have it a bit better. I think it's not perfect, and here's the reason why it's not perfect. For one thing, we don't want it to be 1.0. For another thing, we don't want to move an entire cell each time I press the key. What I really want is to have a particular movement rate per second. And that's where all this unit comes in. So I want a movement rate that's per second. And so I can actually say, this is how many pixels per second the character moves. The other part is that the place where there's the, I'm out of time. The dollar on. You can actually see the dollar right here on the bottom. Because it's not, when it's generating, it's clamping, it's the entire board. And actually this illustrates it very nicely. The graphic is based on the upper left corner. And what I need is for the graphic to be the center of the graphic. And that is, I think, so before we do smooth movement, we're going to also do center of mass. I will remember center of mass is back. Center of mass. Alright. We'll put a label on it because I know exactly how I want to do that. So save. And we will do center of mass next time. But basically, the brief of it. Where'd you go? There you are. Is I want to deal with the middle of the graphic. I want distances to be reckoned based on the center rather than where the upper left corner is. Because the upper left corner is why we wind up with some of the weird erroneous effects. But really cool, and I'm now way less nervous about using units of measure. And I think it is really the right thing to do, and I think it will ultimately help us. And plus, it is a feature of F# that I don't think gets very often used. And I'm very glad that it worked out for us today, and I don't have to scrap an entire episode. So next time, center mass, and probably be able to do center mass and smooth movement because we've got all the units here, and now we can really get going. So we'll see you next time. The Joy of Functional Game Dev, Project 1, Episode 9.